My name is Mya, and at 62 years old, I thought I had figured out life. I had spent the last 35 years building what I believed was a partnership with my husband, Derek. We met when we were young and ambitious, two people who seemed to want the same things from life. He was charming, driven, and spoke about our future like it was a shared dream. I supported him through business school, worked 2 jobs to keep us afloat during those lean years, and celebrated every promotion like it was my own victory. I truly believed we were a team. Our life in Boston looked picture perfect from the outside. We lived in a beautiful brownstone in Beacon Hill, the kind of neighborhood where old money whispers through the cobblestone streets. Derek had climbed the corporate ladder at Hexagon Industries, a mid-sized manufacturing company specializing in aerospace components. He was now the vice president of operations, a position that came with a corner office, a generous salary, and an ego that seemed to expand with each passing year. I had my own career, though Derek rarely acknowledged it. I started as a financial analyst at a small investment firm right after college, working my way up while simultaneously managing our household and raising our 2 children, Marcus and Jennifer. When the kids were teenagers, I took a leap and started my own consulting business, helping small companies optimize their financial structures. It was modest at first, but over the years, it grew into something substantial. I had 15 employees, clients across New England, and a reputation for turning struggling businesses into profitable enterprises. But Derek never saw it that way. To him, my success was cute, a hobby that kept me busy while he did the real work of providing for our family. Never mind that my income had been essential during the early years of his career, or that my consulting fees had paid for Jennifer's wedding and Marcus's graduate school. In Derek's narrative, he was the hero, and I was merely a supporting character. The night everything changed started like any other Tuesday evening. The October air in Boston carried that particular chill that makes you remember winter is coming. I had just returned from a meeting with a potential client in Cambridge, feeling energized and optimistic. The consultation had gone well, and they were interested in a 6-month contract that would significantly boost my firm's revenue for the year. I walked into our house and found Derek in his study, nursing a glass of scotch. The amber liquid caught the light from his desk lamp, and I could tell by the set of his shoulders that something was wrong. "How was your day?" I asked, setting my briefcase down. He didn't look up from his computer screen. "Challenging. Budget meetings all day. The new owners are scrutinizing every department." I moved closer, noticing the tension in his jaw. "New owners? I thought Hexagon was privately held by the Henderson family." "Was," Derek said, finally turning to face me. "They sold to an investment group 3 months ago. Everything is changing." I felt a pang of sympathy. "That must be stressful. Do you think your position is secure?" He laughed, but there was no humor in it. "My position? Mya, I'm the backbone of that company. They'd fall apart without me. 20 years I've given them. Of course, you've worked incredibly hard. You have no idea what it's like," he continued, his voice taking on an edge. "The pressure, the responsibility, making decisions that affect hundreds of employees, managing million-dollar budgets." "I understand pressure," I said quietly. "I run a business too, remember?" That's when he said it. Derek stood up, walked over to the window, and turned to face me with an expression I can only describe as condescending. "Mya, you play at running a business. What you do is nice, sure, but it's not real corporate work. Without me, without the stability I've provided, you'd be nothing. Your little consulting firm exists because I gave you the freedom to pursue it. Don't confuse your hobby with what I do." The words hung in the air like poisoned darts. I felt something inside me crack. 35 years of partnership, of sacrifice, of building a life together, reduced to nothing in a single dismissive statement. I stood there, stunned into silence. Part of me wanted to scream, to list every sacrifice I had made, but another part of me, a quieter and more dangerous part, simply noted the insult and began calculating. "I see," I said finally, my voice eerily calm. "Thank you for clarifying your perspective." Derek seemed surprised by my measured response. Instead of arguing, I picked up my briefcase and walked upstairs to our bedroom, my mind already spinning with possibilities. That night, I barely slept. I lay next to my husband in our king-sized bed, listening to him snore peacefully while my thoughts raced. "Without me, you'd be nothing." The phrase repeated in my mind like a mantra. By the time dawn broke over Boston Harbor, I had made a decision. I wasn't going to argue with Derek or try to make him see my worth. I was going to show him, and I knew exactly how to do it. The next morning, I woke up with a clarity of purpose I hadn't felt in years. Derek left early for work, barely acknowledging me. I waited until I heard his car pull out before I went down to my home office and began my research. First, I needed to understand Hexagon Industries inside and out. I started with the basics. Hexagon was founded in 1987 by William Henderson, an engineer who saw opportunity in the growing aerospace industry. The company manufactured specialized components for aircraft, primarily focusing on hydraulic systems and landing gear parts. They had a solid reputation for quality. According to financial filings I found through public databases, Hexagon had annual revenues of approximately $85 million. They employed about 300 people across 2 facilities. The Henderson family had indeed sold the company 3 months ago to an investment group called Meridian Capital Partners. This is where things got interesting. I made calls to contacts in the investment community, people I had worked with over my years in financial consulting. Through a former client who now worked at a private equity firm, I learned that Meridian Capital Partners had purchased Hexagon as part of a portfolio acquisition. They're numbers people, my contact told me over coffee. They'll hold the companies for 3 to 5 years, cut costs, and flip them. They're not emotionally invested. What would it take to buy one of these companies from them? I asked casually. She raised an eyebrow. Depends on the company and the price. Why do you ask? Just curious about market dynamics, I said with a smile. Over the next 3 weeks, I conducted the most thorough due diligence of my career. I obtained Hexagon's financial statements, analyzed their customer contracts, evaluated their assets, and assessed their market position. What I discovered was both troubling and opportunistic. Hexagon was struggling more than Derek had let on. Their profit margins had been declining for 3 years, squeezed by rising material costs and competitive pressure. Several major contracts were up for renewal within the next 18 months. The company's equipment was aging and would need significant capital investment soon. However, Hexagon also had substantial potential. They held several patents for proprietary manufacturing processes. Their reputation for quality was genuine, and their customer relationships were strong. With proper financial management and strategic investment, the company could be turned around. I ran the numbers obsessively, building financial models late into the night. I calculated purchase prices, analyzed cash flow projections, evaluated financing options. The conclusion I reached was both exciting and terrifying. Buying Hexagon Industries was feasible, but it would require virtually everything I had built over my career. My consulting firm was worth approximately $4 million. I had another $3 million in personal investments and retirement accounts, money Derek assumed was our joint nest egg, but was actually titled in my name alone. I owned a small commercial building in Cambridge worth about $2 million. Together with additional liquid assets, I could potentially raise $10 million. According to my sources, Meridian Capital Partners was looking to sell Hexagon for approximately $30 million. That meant I would need to secure $20 million in financing. This is where my years of relationship building became crucial. I scheduled meetings with 3 different banks, presenting my analysis with the professionalism I had honed over decades. The first 2 banks were skeptical. A 62-year-old woman with no manufacturing experience wanting to buy an $85 million company? The third bank was different. The senior loan officer was Patricia Chen, someone I had worked with years ago when her company was my client. She listened carefully to my presentation and reviewed my financial models with attention. "This is ambitious, Mya," she said, "but your analysis is solid. The risk is significant, but so is the potential return." "I know the risks," I replied. "I also know I can make this work." 2 weeks later, I stared at the commitment letter from the bank. They would provide $20 million in financing, secured by Hexagon's assets and my personal guarantee. The terms were tough, but it was doable. I submitted a formal letter of intent through my attorney, proposing to purchase Hexagon Industries for $28 million. My attorney, Margaret Torres, specialized in mergers and acquisitions. "They'll likely counteroffer," Margaret told me. "Be prepared to go up to 30 if necessary." "I can go to 30, I confirmed, but not a penny more. Throughout this entire process, Derek remained oblivious. He came home each evening, complained about work, and never once asked what I was working on so intently. His lack of interest in my professional life which had once hurt, now worked in my favor. The counteroffer came as predicted. Meridian wanted $29.5 million. We settled at $29 million, with the deal structured to close in 60 days. I signed the papers on a cold November morning, my hand steady despite the magnitude of what I was doing. I was about to become the owner of Hexagon Industries, the company where my husband had worked for 20 years. As I walked out into the crisp autumn air, I felt fear at the enormous risk I was taking, exhilaration at the audacity of it, and something darker and more satisfying. Derek had said that without him, I would be nothing. Soon, I would show him that without me, he might be the one with nothing. The 60-day due diligence period passed in a blur. I worked quietly and efficiently, verifying every aspect of Hexagon's operations. Everything checked out as expected. Hexagon had problems, certainly, but nothing that couldn't be addressed with proper management. During this time, Derek's behavior at home became increasingly difficult. The stress at work was clearly affecting him. He became more critical, more dismissive. Several times he made comments similar to that first painful statement, subtle digs about my business being insignificant. I absorbed each comment silently. Part of me wondered if I should tell him what was happening, but another part of me, the part that had been quietly disrespected for years, wanted him to discover it suddenly. Our children remained unaware of the tension. Marcus was busy with his medical residency in Chicago, and Jennifer was navigating new motherhood in Seattle. I spoke with them regularly, keeping my voice cheerful. This was something I needed to handle alone. The closing date was set for January 10th. I decided to tell him the evening before. January 9th was a Friday, and Derek came home late. I was waiting in the living room, watching snow fall softly outside. "We need to talk," I said as he walked in. He sighed heavily. "Mya, I've had a long day. Can this wait?" "No, it can't. Sit down, please." Something in my tone made him pause. He sat in the armchair across from me. "What's this about?" I took a breath. "Tomorrow, ownership of Hexagon Industries will officially transfer to a new owner. The sale was finalized through Meridian Capital Partners." Derek's face showed confusion, followed by alarm. "What? No one told me about this. Why didn't management inform the senior staff?" "Management wasn't informed because the sale literally finalizes tomorrow. But you're being told now, directly from the new owner." "And who is this new owner?" I met his eyes steadily. "Me. I'm the new owner, Derek. I bought Hexagon Industries." The silence that followed was absolute. Derek stared at me as if I had suddenly started speaking a foreign language. That's not possible. You don't have that kind of money. This is some kind of joke." "It's not a joke. I've spent the last 3 months conducting due diligence, securing financing, and negotiating the purchase. Tomorrow morning, the transaction will close, and I will own the company where you work." Derek stood abruptly, beginning to pace. "This is insane. You can't just buy a company like Hexagon. Do you have any idea what you're doing?" "I'm aware of the consequences. I've analyzed every aspect of this transaction. I know Hexagon's financials better than most of your management team. This is because of what I said, isn't it?" Derek's voice took on an accusatory tone. "You're doing this out of spite. I'm doing this because I'm a skilled businesswoman who identified an opportunity. Your comments simply provided the final motivation. You said without you, I'd be nothing. I'm demonstrating that without me, you might be the one who's nothing. So what does this mean for me? That depends entirely on you. I'm the owner, but I'm not planning to manage day-to-day operations immediately. Your job performance will be evaluated objectively, like everyone else's. If you're truly as indispensable as you claim, you have nothing to worry about." Derek's face cycled through several emotions: shock, anger, fear, and finally something that looked like grudging respect mixed with resentment. "Everyone at work will know. Everyone will know my wife owns the company." "Yes, they will. How you handle that is up to you." He sat back down heavily. "I don't know what to say. You don't need to say anything tonight. We'll discuss the details tomorrow after the closing." I stood and walked upstairs, leaving him sitting alone. Despite the satisfaction I felt, there was also sadness. This was not how I had imagined our marriage would evolve. The closing took place at Margaret's office. I signed what felt like hundreds of documents, and by 10:30 a.m. on January 10th, I was officially the owner of Hexagon Industries. "Congratulations," Margaret said. "You're now a manufacturing company CEO. How does it feel?" "Terrifying and exhilarating in equal measure," I admitted. I had already assembled my transition team, 2 consultants from my firm, a manufacturing expert I had hired specifically for this project, and Patricia Chen from the bank as an advisor. Together, we had developed a 90-day plan to assess Hexagon and implement improvements. The first order of business was meeting with Hexagon's senior management team. I scheduled this for Monday morning. That Monday, I walked into Hexagon Industries for the first time as its owner. The facility was impressive, a modern building in an industrial park just outside Boston. The management team assembled in the conference room. Derek, the CFO Thomas Wu, the VP of Sales Linda Martinez, the head of engineering Robert Sullivan, and the HR director Karen Mitchell. I could feel the tension, particularly from Derek. "Good morning, everyone," I began. "I'm Mya Richardson, and as you've learned, I'm the new owner of Hexagon Industries. I know this transition is unexpected, and I want to address any concerns." Thomas Wu spoke first. "Ms. Richardson, what are your plans for the company? Are there going to be layoffs? Please call me Mya. My goal is to stabilize and grow Hexagon, not dismantle it. We have significant strengths, but also challenges that need addressing. Over the next 90 days, my team will be working with all of you to develop a comprehensive strategy." Linda Martinez leaned forward. "What's your background in manufacturing?" "I don't have direct manufacturing experience. What I do have is 30 years of financial consulting experience, specifically helping companies optimize their operations. I've helped turn around more than a dozen struggling businesses. I'll rely on experts like yourselves for the manufacturing specifics." Robert Sullivan nodded slowly. "That's a reasonable approach. What about our current projects?" "All existing projects continue as planned. Customer relationships are our most valuable asset." We continued for another hour. Derek remained silent throughout, his jaw tight. As the meeting concluded, I asked Derek to stay behind. Once the others had left, Derek finally spoke. "This is humiliating, standing there while you address my colleagues as if you're suddenly an authority. I never claimed to be an authority on manufacturing, but I am an authority on business management, and I am the owner of this company. Those are facts, Derek. What do you expect me to do? Report to my wife? I expect you to do your job professionally. Your reporting structure hasn't changed. The only difference is that ultimate decisions come to me instead of Meridian." Derek gathered his papers. "I've given 20 years to this company, and now you swoop in with your money and consultants. I understand that this company has been declining for 3 years. I understand that profit margins are down 18%. And I understand that with proper leadership, Hexagon can not only survive, but thrive." He stopped at the door. Was any of this about love? About our marriage? The question struck deeper than he probably intended. "This isn't about winning, Derek. It's about respect. For 35 years, I supported you, believed in you, sacrificed for you. And you responded by dismissing everything I accomplished as nothing. I'm trying to show you that I'm more than you ever gave me credit for." He left without responding, and I sat alone in the conference room, looking out at the factory floor. Over the following months, I threw myself into understanding and improving Hexagon. I identified cost savings in procurement, renegotiated supplier contracts, and implemented better inventory management. The manufacturing expert worked closely with Robert to modernize production while staying within budget. Linda and I formed a particularly strong working relationship. Together, we developed an approach to contract renewals that emphasized Hexagon's quality reputation. We won back 3 major contracts that had been at risk and secured 2 new customers. The financial improvements were gradual but steady. By the end of the first quarter, we had reduced operating costs by 12% without any layoffs. By mid-year, profit margins had improved by 6 points. Derek and I maintained a professional but distant relationship at work. At home, we were civil but careful. He gradually came to acknowledge that my leadership was effective. I noticed him in meetings, occasionally nodding at suggestions I made. One evening in late July, nearly 6 months after the purchase, Derek came into my home office where I was reviewing quarterly reports. He stood in the doorway, looking uncertain. "Can we talk?" he asked. "Of course." I saved my document and turned to face him. He sat in the chair across from my desk. "I owe you an apology. What I said last October about you being nothing without me, that was cruel and wrong. I've spent years taking credit for our life together, as if it was all my doing. But watching you over these past months, seeing how you've handled Hexagon, I realize I've been blind. Why are you telling me this now?" Because I'm tired of being angry. I'm tired of feeling threatened by your success." He paused. "You've saved Hexagon." The company was in worse shape than I realized. If Meridian had held on to it, there would have been massive layoffs. You found a better way. I had good help, including from you and the rest of the management team. I fought you on several initiatives early on. I was wrong." He looked down at his hands. "I'm proud of what you've accomplished, Mya. I should have been saying that for the last 35 years. The words settled between us, fragile and genuine. Thank you for saying that. It matters. Can we fix this? Our marriage, I mean. Is there a way back?" I considered the question carefully. "I don't know. We've both changed. I can't go back to accepting being called nothing. I'm not asking you to. I'm asking if we can move forward differently, as equals, as actual partners. That would require ongoing effort from both of us. Therapy, probably. Real conversations, changed behavior. I'm willing to try if you are." I looked at my husband, seeing both the man I had married decades ago and the person he had become. "I'm willing to try. But Derek, if you ever dismiss my work or my worth again, I won't buy a company to prove you wrong. I'll just leave." He nodded solemnly. "Understood and fair." We didn't solve everything that night. Years of accumulated hurt don't disappear with a single conversation. But it was a beginning. As I sit here now, nearly a year after buying Hexagon Industries, both the company and my marriage are works in progress. Hexagon's financial performance continues to improve. We're profitable, growing, and positioned well for the future. Derek and I are in couples therapy, learning to communicate as equals, slowly rebuilding trust. I'm not certain where either journey will ultimately lead, but I've learned something important. I am not nothing. I never was. With or without Derek, with or without Hexagon, I am a capable, intelligent, accomplished woman who deserves respect. Sometimes the most profound acts of self-assertion come from the most painful places. Derek's cruel words cracked something open in me, but what emerged wasn't broken. It was stronger, clearer, more certain of its own worth, and that, more than any business success, is the real victory.